Brett Favre was on a radio show, TV show, and he started talking about Aaron Rodgers and the Packers selecting Jordan Love with their first pick when the team has other needs, obviously. They were crushed twice by the 49ers, badly. And so Brett Favre first talked about this in terms of the Jordan Love draft pick for Aaron Rodgers.
I think Aaron will finish somewhere else. That's my gut. I guarantee you this, and I don't know this for certain, but I guarantee you it's got the wheels turning in Aaron's mind, which if that's the case, then that means that there's a chip on his shoulder towards the organization that otherwise was not there. And so all he needs is a reason other than this reason to expedite that.
I agree with Brett Favre, and Brett Favre would know. He did mention that he and Aaron Rodgers talked about it. Now, 26 Hall of Fame quarterbacks in the modern era. I'm not counting guys who played, when they didn't have face masks and played in sandals. 16 of the 26 have played for multiple teams. And 3 other first ballot Hall of Famers, Brady, Peyton Manning, and Drew Brees, will go in soon, and they also played for multiple teams. That's the era we live in. Okay, LeBron's played for a couple, Shaq 6, KD 3. Why can't quarterbacks? In fact, if we didn't have a franchise tag, I believe many of the quarterbacks in the NFL over the last decade would play for multiple teams. Len Dawson did, Favre did, Jim Kelly, Montana, Warren Moon, Joe Namath, Fran Tarkenton, Steve Young. Troy Aikman only played for Dallas, but when he retired, he considered coming back to Miami and was training to come back to the San Diego Chargers. So Troy Aikman was a guy that transferred in college, who would have played again if somebody picked him up and paid him the money. This is the new world we live in. People play for multiple teams. Our dads, our moms used to work for one company for a long time. If you had one major job transfer in your life, it was a big deal. Now you move. You're mobile. You may start your own business. You go to a different corporation. So I do think, and I will say this, I think there's 3 teams, because he can't do it for 2 years because of the cap hit. He can't. So Aaron's not going to move this year, and he's not going to move next year because of the cap hit. But just think 2 years down the road. I can think off the top of my head of 3 perfect fits. Let's say Justin Herbert doesn't move the needle for the Chargers. They play him a little this year. Doesn't work. Next year they give the reins to him. Really doesn't work. It's L.A. They're not selling tickets. Rams are selling out. They're not selling tickets. LeBron's in town. Kawhi's in town. Dodgers in town. USC football's rolling. Aaron Rodgers has a house in Malibu. You don't think the Chargers... He'd be 38 in 2 years. Here's the second team, San Francisco 49ers. Garoppolo's been hurt a couple of times. Kyle Shanahan is tired of losing big games. He's tired of being in those Super Bowls as a head coach or a coordinator and losing leads. Aaron played at Cal. House in Malibu again. 49ers in 2 years. Garoppolo gets hurt or underachieves. Contract's over. Boom. How about the Saints? Drew Brees plays this year. Then they segue into either Jameis Winston next year or Taysom Hill. Sean Payton's like, yeah, that's not working for me. Boom. Aaron Rodgers with Sean Payton. So those are 3 right off the top of my head that make complete and total sense for Aaron Rodgers. He'll be 38 as long as he stays healthy. He's a smart guy. He eats right, takes care of his body. If he doesn't have another collarbone surgery, Chargers, Niners, Saints, in a second. I mean, and by the way, Brady to Tampa, if I'd have said that 2 years ago, you would have said I'm an idiot. You may still say that, but there's going to be stuff that opens up. Here's the other thing Favre talked about in terms of drafting Jordan Love instead of a playmaker.
He was, let's just say, surprised that they went in that direction. And I'm not surprised that he reached out to Jordan, being in a similar situation himself 15 years ago. And we had a great relationship in spite of what he was basically caught up in the middle of a hornet's nest, if you will. I don't foresee that happening here.
So let me just address this. People look at Jordan Love as bad news for Aaron Rodgers. Take the telescope and turn it around. If Aaron Rodgers, and we know he's been frustrated before by people in the organization, in 2 years, if Aaron Rodgers is done and can get out, you know why? What would have to happen for the Packers to be willing to do it? Jordan Love's good. Aaron Rodgers should embrace Jordan Love, mentor Jordan Love, teach him the little secrets about playing quarterback. Don't see Jordan Love as a liability. See him as an ally. If Jordan Love can be mentored, supported by Aaron Rodgers, he can leave Wisconsin, go play in L.A., San Francisco, New Orleans, a better fit perhaps with a roster, a city, a sensibility, a coach. This is the classic turn the telescope to the other side. The Packers would be much more willing to let Aaron go if inexpensive Jordan Love was entering the third year and was succeeding, was good in preseason, was good in occasional backup roles. So, and I think Aaron's smart enough to see this, that he's going to be 38. The closer Jordan Love is to taking over the reins, the more willing Green Bay would be to say, yeah, we'll save $15 million, $20 million a year on quarterback. We can go get a free agent or two. So all this, to me, I would support Aaron Rodgers if he's mobile. I've been mobile. What kind of hypocrite would I would be if I didn't support an athlete who was mobile? Number one. And number two, I think Aaron's got a right to be ticked off. I understand what Green Bay was trying to do, get more physical. They got pushed around by San Francisco twice. But all this stuff could end up very good for the Packers, very good for Aaron Rodgers, and very good for the Chargers, 49ers, or Saints down the road. Let me shift to this. 2 stories today on quarterbacks who used to be franchise quarterbacks. Jameis Winston is going to make $1 million a year. Jameis Winston, a few years ago, he's only 26 and healthy, was making a lot of money. He is now potentially number 3 quarterback for New Orleans. And the Bengals have released Andy Dalton. He's 32 with a winning record, 4 playoff appearances. Why are they out of work? Marcus Mariota, by the way, also young, talented. Tennessee moved on. Tampa Bay Winston moved on. Cincinnati moved on. Why? Because quarterback is just too good now. You have to move on. Let me give you an example. Now, you're not going to remember a lot of these. But the NFL now is such big business. You can't be average at quarterback. When I was a kid growing up, Kenny Anderson played for the Bengals from 1971 to 1986. They just stayed with him. He was in 6 playoff games in 15 years. They just stayed with him. NFL wasn't big business. He was good enough. Cleveland stayed with Brian Sipe, 1974 to 83. He made 1 playoff game and lost it. They just stayed with him. He was good enough. St. Louis Cardinals, Jim Hart, 1966 to 1983. 2 playoff games, never won one. Those guys just stayed with him. It was okay back then. It was okay to just stay with average. For 2 reasons. Number one, the NFL wasn't nearly as big a business. You were 500, the turnstiles, people were going to the games, cable TV wasn't around, draft was marginally televised, they didn't have a combine. You could just stay with average. Jim Hart was a nice guy, Brian Sipe was a nice guy, Kenny Anderson, good enough. Good enough. And secondly, college football was not furnishing the NFL with 4 new starting quarterbacks every year. I mean, guys like Drew Lock, who I'm like 50-50 on. At the end of last year, I'm like, hell, Drew Lock's going to make it. I was out on Josh Allen. Oh, my God, he got to the playoffs. I mean, I like Sam Darnold, but a lot of these guys, Lamar Jackson, I was like, it's a project. Not really. Playoffs, first year. What? Kyler Murray, he plays baseball. He's tiny. Oh, God, he can play too. I mean, outside of Paxton Lynch and Josh Rosen, they're all making it last 5-6 years. And that's why I think there's 3 quarterbacks in the NFL this year. They're going to be the next Andy Dalton. They're going to be the next Marcus Mariota. They're going to be the next Jameis Winston if they don't win. And those 3 are Mitch Trubisky, Derek Carr, and Baker Mayfield. Stop with Sam Darnold. He went 7-6 last year with mono and no help Baker Mayfield never got mono, had tons of pieces, and went 6-10. Darnold going 7-6 with that mess is remarkable, and battling mono. So I think Trubisky, Derek Carr with Las Vegas, Oakland, and Baker Mayfield. Because average won't do, and there's too much damn money in this business. And I think Trubisky will be replaced before Thanksgiving. Derek Carr struggles at all, replaced after Thanksgiving. Baker Mayfield will be given the year, but they will move off him quickly if he doesn't win 9 games and if he throws over 18 to 20 picks. It's just not what it used to be. Cam Newton cannot get a job. Josh Rosen was given about 6 starts. That's just the way it is. There's too much money. You can't be average anymore. You're hemorrhaging tens of millions a year if you're average. And secondly, college football is furnishing the NFL with like 4 starters a year. Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. I mean, Jacob Eason. Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love. I mean, if you look at the recent trend, 4 of those 5 are going to hit. We have reached a saturation point. So I think Trubisky, Derek Carr, who's not really a fit with Gruden, although I think he's talented. Trubisky, I don't think he's that talented. And Baker, talented, but can't get out of his own way. I think those are 3 guys this year with a complete and utter bullseye on their back. Oh, here's a story. Andy Dalton's going to get released. He's only 32 years old, has a winning NFL record, 0-4 in the playoffs. But Andy Dalton is certainly capable. He would be among the best backups in the NFL. He's a really nice guy. He's got leadership qualities. I don't think he's a great athlete. I think he's got a marginal arm, but he would be like Marcus Mariota. He'd be a great backup. Jameis Winston's a great backup. I don't want to build my franchise around him. But Andy Dalton has years left in the NFL. Good guy, no baggage, works his ass off. He's a super credible guy in the locker room. He just doesn't have a lot of it. Marcus Mariota doesn't have a lot of it. Jameis Winston has a lot of it. The it are interceptions. But they're great backups, and you can make a lot of money. Marcus Mariota's making $8 million a year backing up Derek Carr. So now you're hearing a lot of this now. What about New England? Folks, New England's got a plan. Okay, do we have to? I hear this. Cam Newton, New England. Andy Dalton, New England. Oh, boy. You do get Bill Belichick plans everything. I was reading Mike Lombardi's book, and I've touched on it, and one of my staffers reminded me of the passage in the book that when Lombardi first joined the Patriots in 2014, they just lost to Denver in a playoff game. And one of the things they were bad at was the red zone goal line defense. So Belichick became obsessed with it, about goal line defense and stopping the run. He put in defensive plays he did not use until the Super Bowl Malcolm Butler play. He put it in for years and never used it until that play. Belichick's always got a plan. We just don't know about it. And Belichick has a plan now. It's 4 stages. 1, we're seeing develop. Get rid of expensive defensive players and get younger on defense. We're seeing that. They will keep Stephon Gilmore because he's the best corner, in my opinion, in the league. Van Noy, Collins, they're going to let guys go. We are seeing that being implemented. Last 2 drafts, 8 defensive players drafted. Most, I'm told, in the room, they like him. So get younger and cheaper on defense. He doesn't want to spend big money on defense except for Gilmore and maybe Hightower. The second part of the plan, don't get tied. We're seeing this happen too. Don't get tied to any quarterback. Jarrett Stidham, Brian Hoyer, peanuts. Don't spend any money on quarterback. We're seeing that. The 2 stages we haven't seen yet of Bill's plan will be implemented. Number 1 is all this money they're saving, $100 million on cap space, they're going to spend it on offense next year. Why? Because it's what Bill doesn't draft as well. He doesn't. He doesn't draft it as well, and Dante Scarnecchia is getting older, and they're going to have to spend money on an expensive tackle or an expensive center, a Pro Bowler. Okay? And Scarnecchia just retired a couple weeks ago. So they have to go out and spend some money on this stuff. They're not going to have the coaching on the O-line. And the fourth part of the plan, which that hasn't been implemented, 10, 11 draft picks, go get a quarterback if Stidham's not the guy. So he's got a plan. We're seeing two elements of it happen. Number one, get younger and cheaper on defense. It's happening. And number two is don't get tied to a quarterback, i.e. Andy Dalton, Cam Newton, that's expensive.